Hello all, Shadwell here, ready to talk about the next film in my collection, The Cabinet of Dr. Caligari from 1920. It's directed by Robert Wien and stars Werner Krauss and Conrad Veidt. Is this our first? I think it is our first film that is over 100 years old. 103 years old to be exact. This film was released just at the sweet spot when international markets were starting to accept German films again after World War I finished in 1918. And interesting that they did, because this film has a bunch to say about wartime Germany from the minds of some of its citizens. Here's a quick plot synopsis for anyone who's never taken a Film 101 course. In the framing story, Francis is going to tell the man sitting next to him of a story involving his fiancée Jane. He tells a story of how he and his friend Alan both loved Jane. You know, the boring kind of love triangle. Also in the story, Francis and Alan go to the fair and see the visiting Dr. Caligari, who is there with his somnambulist Caesar. A somnambulist is a sleepwalker. Anyway, the somnambulist, since he's always sleeping, has powers to see everything of the past and the future, and Dr. Caligari wakes him to do an AMA with the crowd. Alan asks how long he'll live, and Caesar proclaims, "Until the next morning," which indeed happens. Unknown to the citizens, it is at the hand of the somnambulist at the orders of Dr. Caligari. Anyway, Caesar kills several people before Dr. Caligari is cornered in a nearby insane asylum where he is posing as the director. I'm going to leave some of the later details blank because this film is actually really intriguing and is often credited as the first horror film. One thing I won't get to really expound upon because I want to give you a spoiler-ish free review is the sets are all absolutely crazy. This is considered the most famous work of German expressionism in film history, and that really comes into play in the sets for the film. All of which heed the expressionist creed of holding to the artist's emotion as more important than replicating reality, and if that doesn't make sense, I'm sorry, I only have 3 minutes. In the beginning, I was talking about it saying something about wartime Germany from some of its own citizens, and that is Germany's need for a tyrant and its willingness to follow one, like Caesar the Somnambulist follows his tyrant leader Dr. Caligari. I really wish I had more time to talk about this because this one can be a doozy when you think of it in that way, that Caesar is the common German and Dr. Caligari is the Kaiser during World War I. I'm going to make my Film 101 professor happy and give this film an honest A. Tomorrow is the French film that The Birdcage was based on, La Cage aux Folles. See y'all then.